Hey, what's up, everybody? Welcome to Have You Seen This? It's season something, episode something or other.
That's right.
uh, we got what do we got to talk about today? Not a lot of news in the friggin' TV land because it's kind of close to Christmas. It's kind of in the middle of seasons for television. Most things go
Mhm.
on hiatus. And apparently the news has gone on hiatus. There's a great variety piece about House of the Dragon, and people should go check that out, but it was much too long a read for me to drop it as a news segment.
Oh my
But it's
gosh.
good. Lots of quotes. It's fun. Um, so, yeah, not a lot of news. There's a trailer that I mentioned right before the show started, so I'm not even sure if Rob had a chance to check it out, but I'm
No.
going to talk about it because
Yeah.
I'm going to I mean, it's not till January. First, we
That's
gotta
coming
go.
out right away.
Well, January 20th is the premiere of season two,
Wow, that's
and
pretty quick.
I mean, I think it was January the last year. It might have been a little later, but yeah. So first, we gotta ask, how's it going, Santa? I guess.
Yeah, I'm Santa now. It's going fine. S- there's lots of coal for people this year. I've decided. I've decided. I'm taking a new stand. It's like everybody's on the bad list. Everybody. That way, it's just more for me.
uh,
Did you ever get
yeah.
coal in your stocking?
No, because I was born in the 90s,
Mhm.
and so technically giving someone coal would be a very valuable present to be giving
Wow.
someone.
We
Because
over in 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 my day and age, it wasn't coal; it was a potato. It's like, oh, the bad
mm.
person got a potato, and it was always like my dad.
Yeah, no, we actually we haven't had a Grinch gift, which is kind of interesting because I grew up in a family of smartasses. But I mean, look at me. Um, and I don't know. That seems like an interesting idea, and I should bring it up at some point.
Oh,
We've
yes,
had a couple of
potato.
yeah, we've had a couple of years where like someone does gag gifts for everybody, but then they're not like potatoes even. They're very specific gifts for everyone. Like
Nice.
this one year, my sister, who is an Irish studies major and all of that, she was given a it wasn't even a British flag because that would be like insulting. It was a Welsh flag, like the
Ooh,
flag of Wales. We're Irish Scottish again.
yeah.
So Ireland would work, Scotland would work, Britain would be an insult. Wales is just kind of, do you even know what the Welsh flag looks like?
Of course I do.
I do not, but
It's
my
got a
sister owns
dragon
one
on it.
now.
It has a dragon on
Does
it.
it? Does it? Holy
Yeah.
shit. That's maybe the coolest flag then.
Is it
But we're not here to talk
Saint
about
like Saint
flags.
Saint George's dragon? I believe it's called.
We're not here to talk about flags.
Oh,
And
this isn't flag talk.
no, apparently this is not a show about flags.
Well,
I am being told.
you know what? Let's put a pin on that. We'll start thinking of ways we can do flag talk uh,
Yeah, yeah.
on
Everyone in the chat,
on
drop your
a different.
favorite
We'll do a
flags.
different show. We'll do a different show. Uh, Guys, coming soon to this network, flag talk.
Fun stuff. I mean,
Hmm.
we are quite international, so we
Whoa,
do have a couple of flags in the network already.
that's true.
And
Not here
we
though. Not here.
not here.
No.
Uh we do have again, not much news. There was a Vox Machina trailer. The
Hmm.
Red Band trailer dropped like 5 days ago, something like that. Um I just saw it about an hour ago. Very
What you think?
fun. I I kind of know what's going to happen, so like it does pique my interest because like each bit of the trailer is like, okay, so this is how much of the campaign they're going to be covering now. Cuz I mean, since episode 3 or something of the first season, it has been more established canon, whereas the first 2 episodes are kind of summing up what happened before they went on to Twitch and started playing the game.
Mhm.
So again, like very fun stuff. They last season, spoilers, they were attacked by dragons. The city of Amon is attacked by 5 dragons, or well, 4 dragons because they kill one of them, I guess.
They gotta
And
start
then
thinking of something other than dragons to put up against people. There's gotta be some.
in
Just
in the
guys, just start
Dungeons
making
and
shit up.
Dragons show.
Yeah, no, just start making up. Well, everybody has dragons. There's been the House of the Dragon, that
Yeah.
dragon, a couple other dragons. Lord of the Rings
Well,
didn't have
to
a
be
dragon, but
fair,
guess what? It's coming, dragons.
yeah, and like to be fair, like the dragons are super cool in here because they dragons in Dungeons and Dragons can talk like in Lord of the Rings. Like
Right.
they all have different personalities, and they mostly all get killed. I think
Well,
that might happen, might not. I can't remember in one case, to be honest. That's actually funny. But and then they also have the arcing threat from prior in the season where they fought the weird vampire couple that is related to one of their backstories and everything. That's going to come up again later. Uh, at least will be relevant later on.
is the singing guy still alive?
The singing guy is still alive, yes.
Oh boy. All right.
And they in the trailer they do have a bit where they're talking about how they have to go inside the dragon, and the
Mhm.
rogue tells the bard, he's just like, I'm not going in that dragon, like it spits acid. And then the bard tells him, well, that's not the end we have to go into. And then he picks him up in his giant floating hand and just flies them at a dragon's ass. So that's fun.
Just like the nursery rhymes.
Just like every game of Dungeons and
Oh,
Dragons
really?
ever.
That how it ends up usually? It's like you
I
guys,
mean,
one
yeah,
of you guys is gonna get trapped up something, and it's not gonna be pleasant.
honestly, yes. If people are serious about Dungeons and Dragons, someone is going to end up inside a dragon or a giant worm, or like there's a million different things you could end up inside of in a gelatinous cube. Uh, and yeah, so it seems fun. It
I
actually
bet.
will really be like the big part of the like actual campaign of Critical Role. So I
Hmm.
guess people will not need to watch a lot of the first campaign unless they want like a huge expounded story, and they could kind of just jump into one of the newer ones because they're, you know, oh my god, they're like 40 episodes into the third campaign at this point. I can't keep up with that shit. It's like 4 hours 4 hours an episode.
4 hours an episode, and they're 40
Yeah,
episodes in.
they're 40
Oh my
episodes
god!
into their third one. The first one was 115 episodes. The second one was
At 4 hours a pop?
about 140 episodes.
Oh my
And
gosh!
yeah, if you count up the runtime of Critical Role, it surpasses the anime One Piece, which has over 1,000 episodes at 20 minutes a piece. So yeah, it's insanity.
Yeah, it is insanity.
Yeah, and it is probably close to being in the running for one of the longest, like, I mean, it's all like unscripted improvisation, but one of the longest like stories told at this point. Like
Bananas.
it's interesting. So that about wraps up my news. So we got things that we've been watching,
Hmm.
and we both last week uh and we were not here. So 2 weeks ago, I cannot remember if we had finished talking about Wednesday, or if both of us hadn't watched all 8 episodes yet.
I had watched 6. I needed to watch the
Okay,
next
okay.
2, which I did immediately after the show.
Yes, yes. And fucking great series.
It was amazing.
I'm both excited and trepidatious for season 2. There have been like hush hush rumors about one possibly having been greenlit partway, like just before the first season even aired, like based on seeing it. But
I would imagine 100% they'd have this one back. The caveat being, I don't know if Tim Burton's willing to come back to direct
mhm.
4 more episodes and stuff like that. I'm sure he'll happily be the executive producer and stuff like that, but he didn't direct every episode. So
No, and honestly, some of the really good episodes, like I was checking, and some of the amazing episodes in that series are not directed by him. So,
right, yeah.
yeah,
So it can continue on just as well if he's in the background or whatever, just greenlighting stuff and not having
yeah,
having his fingerprint on it. But yeah, I would imagine they would have to do it. But it's like I said, it's like it's a more morbid kind of Harry Potterish style story. You can do the same thing, if we like
yeah.
get a new dean or whatever
It's
every
it's
season, a new something every
supernatural
season.
Veronica Mars.
Okay, sure.
Because like also the way like Wednesday bosses everyone around and acts like a sheriff is
That's true.
and literally bursts into the sheriff's office. Like there's a lot of little similarities to Veronica Mars that I noticed when
It's a
watching
show
this show.
I never saw Veronica Mars. I
No?
know the no, I know the people that watched it liked it. I was always thinking, oh, that's maybe a show I wouldn't mind getting into. It's just never did.
Yeah, it's a pretty fun show. I I don't want to say it was one of like Kristen Bell's first projects, but I also know that's one of the first ones I remember. And
Right.
like that's honestly without Veronica Mars, I like may have not known how good The Good Place was going to be. Like I watched that show based off of Kristen Bell, and I mean curious about Ted Danson as well. That was and also perfect fucking show that I love The Good Place, and everyone should watch it if they haven't.
Yeah,
It's
Good Place
actually
is
down
terrific.
there on our
Yeah,
background here.
we mentioned it in the very first episode of the show when we were talking about shows we like. And I think it's done. Wasn't it done by the guys that did Brooklyn Nine-Nine? I think did The Good Place. Is that them? Or was it
I'm
Parks and Rec? But either way, it's coming off a legacy of good sitcoms,
mm,
and it fulfilled it. I was just shocked that it ended so quick, but they did what they had to do. It's not a show that gets drawn out forever and ever and ever.
yeah.
Did what it had to do and got out. So good for them.
From what I heard, like they kind of wanted to like get out as well. Like they may have even done one more season than they wanted to initially. I think when they first pitched it, it was because without spoiling anything, there's a big
Okay.
twist at the end of the first season, and then there's a big twist at the end of the second season. And it seems like they were planning for 2 and had to do 3 in the end, and like
Right.
it all works out and everything is very zany and very fun, but
Yeah.
I
That
even
if
feel like it could have been tighter.
if they would have ended just on that first season's uh turn there, uh I think it would have been perfect. Like
It
it
would
would
have
have been fine.
been yeah,
Yeah.
it would have been the one of the best television series if it just ended right there.
Yeah.
And like I love all of the other seasons, but yes, if it was just season 1 and that's all we got, that may be one of my favorite television series of all time.
But we were
And
talking Wednesday. How did we get on to
yes,
Kristen Bell? Uh
because Veronica Mars, she reminds
yes,
me.
that's true. That's true. Uh were you satisfied with the ending?
I want to say yes, but actually not really.
I was.
um, it it was well executed. I just guessed it, which
Yeah,
was my problem with it. Like I
yeah. Like I don't think they were building this thing to be like a serious who done it and stuff like that. Like
Mhm,
it's still a program aimed at people, probably about 13, 14, whatever Wednesday's age is supposed to be now. So I think that's where the age is supposed to be. So I don't think it's supposed to be like too tough or whatever. But
mhm.
I think there was some good red herrings in there. Um, and I think the monster was great. Very Tim Burton looking monster for sure with the eyes and stuff.
Yeah,
Yeah, I like that whole thing of a Jekyll and Hyde. It was terrific.
that was cool.
I loved.
My biggest problem was just that mostly it's that like she was wrong twice.
Mhm.
And I think like because you're gonna do that, you're gonna have your hero fail before they succeed. I think part of it should have been correct because that would have like thrown everyone for like one more loop because basically when it was proven that she was wrong and her hypothesis was wrong, then you eliminated two of the, well, I mean there's one suspect in both cases, but you eliminated 50% of the suspects immediately in one shot in one episode. So it was just like, well, the next two, or well, it was like one episode, I think, but it's like you kind of knew what was going to happen, and I wanted to see the confrontation, and that was fun. But it was just like, I, I wish, I wish they could have pulled one more rogue, kind of like.
Right.
I liked the principal at the end. That was a nice twist that, like, I did not see that coming.
Mhm.
But yeah, like
The show proved that it has stakes.
mhm,
It'll kill people, and it will make them stay dead.
yes.
Yeah, which is important, I think, for any show where it's like you can say buybacks or whatever. Yeah, what's the fun in that? No, no, no.
Mhm.
If you're dead, you're dead. That's it. So yeah, no, I really enjoyed that part. I think it shows that they think that they know that their audience is smarter than a lot of people may take this kind of programming for and stuff like that. That they'll be able to handle this kind of thing. So yeah, I can't wait for another episode of Wednesday. Do you think they'll call it Thursday?
I wish they would, but they won't.
They could
They
call it
didn't call
Wednesday colon Thursday.
they didn't call the sequel to Now You See Me, Now You Don't, and so my faith in any naming conventions is moot.
Oh my gosh.
Because yeah, if you're gonna call your movie Now You See Me and then you're gonna make a sequel and you're gonna call it Now You See Me 2 instead of Now You Don't, just 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 go home. Season 3 Friday.
That's right.
Uh, Rebecca Black is gonna be a series regular in season 3.
We can only hope. Gonna bring the
And
jams.
and yeah, like there is a lot of interesting stuff that I want to see in a season 2. I want a kind of the principal to be weird and creepy. Like
Hmm.
I want that to kind of incite a mystery, but also like, there's a lot of different storylines. Like the school could be in danger of closing, this and that, other things. Definitely want to see more about freaking the werewolf family because
Hmm.
that'll be super cool.
Yeah, I
Uh
love the relationship between the two of them too.
yeah. And then like, oh my god. Also the bug guy was
Yeah,
has
the bee.
crazy superpowers. Oh man. I I don't see how he was harmed. He should have brought his friends. He could have kicked anyone's ass in that woods.
Yeah.
That was super awesome. Um, and yeah, like very fun little supernatural series. Very, very yeah. Any boarding school show.
Another good thing is that I don't think it's based on any existing media, right? I think so. It's not like anybody can go ahead and do spoilers. No, I don't think anybody has the right to get pissed about anything because
Mhm.
uh, it's not. It shouldn't live up to anyone's expectations because nobody knows what the hell's going to happen next, anyways. So, I think
Yeah,
I think it would be inc- I think it would be incredibly dumb if they don't do a second season. It'd be
and like
stupid.
I think that's half the reason of like taking her and putting her in the boarding school because like it it will get fans off of your back if you like aren't super true to a character in every way and without fault.
Yeah.
But also it allows you to introduce 100 characters, kill 90 of them, and it's fine because you haven't actually harmed anything that has come before it.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
But then even if you don't do that, it's fine because the old thing is still there and people could just go watch that.
And another thing is the legacy characters they bring in for bits and pieces, except for
Mhm.
uh, except for Thing, of course. But like Uncle Fester's in one episode. The parents are in a brief part of one episode and a longer bit at near the end. But yeah, Pugs. Same with Pugsley, a little bit here and there and stuff like that. We never saw Cousin It, so maybe
Mhm.
Cousin It could be a thing for another one. Stuff like there's lots that they can still do with the with Wednesday and what she's going to be doing over at Nevermore. Is it Nevermore Academy? Is that what it's called, or just
I believe
Nevermore?
so, yeah.
Yeah, yeah, good. All right, what's
Very
next?
very fun stuff. Uh Murder.
hmm Speaking of murder,
uh
let's talk murder.
yeah. Uh Murderville, the holiday special.
hmm
I knew it was coming. I wasn't prepared. Wow.
Yeah, in a good way. In a good way, guys.
Yeah, I watched it again earlier today. I had it queued up in my down. I had it queued up. I downloaded it onto my tablet. I was ready to watch it, and then I discovered this thing called NordVPN. But
Oh
this is
boy.
not an ad at all.
Brought
uh,
to you by our sponsors, NordVPN.
Absolutely not.
Okay, not a sponsor.
Oh no. Well, honestly, the interface is really annoying me, but
Ooh,
if they would sponsor us, then maybe the interface was amazing.
oh my god.
But anyway, and I found out that I now have access to the final season of Avatar: Legend of Korra, and I never got to watch it before my Netflix just removed it for absolutely no goddamn reason. Like
Wow.
they have all the other seasons, they just don't have the last one.
Maybe they
Why?
maybe they wanted it to last forever.
Indeed, indeed.
hmm
And yeah, there's a whole thing. Not all of that episode even aired on television. That whole last season of Korra had
Oh.
some issues, but also some idiots.
Huh?
Oh yeah, there's I know too much about it and yet I haven't seen it. So I can't even fully explain everything that happened, but
What a guy.
people get very upset about uh a like same-sex kiss in the final episode, and like other people get very upset that there is not enough like representation going into that to merit it. And so on one side you have people arguing one thing, that it's not enough, and then on the other side you have people arguing that it's too much, and Then you have Nickelodeon canceling the show halfway through the season, but it was already produced. So, like, what are they going to do? So, they kind of aired like multiple episodes at a time super quickly just to get it over with. It was a mess. So yeah, I've been watching some of that season. It's actually very enjoyable. I've been having
Is
a
it
fun time.
is it different than the last Airbender? This Korra thing, is it different than the last?
Yes.
Okay.
She's the avatar that takes over after Aang. Um,
Aang is the little
every
bald kid.
yes, he's the bald guy.
Hmm.
Um, and yeah, like the avatar is reincarnated and reborn every time they die, and it also like follows the four elements one by one, and so Aang was born to the Air Nation. That's why he's the last Airbender, because all of his people were wiped out in the first episode. So that's
Oh,
not really a spoiler. It's he wakes up 100 years
says it.
later.
It says it right there in the title that he's the
Well,
last one.
yes, exactly. And all of his people die, and then he freezes himself, and he wakes up like 100 years later. So no one's seen him in forever, and the people who killed all of his people are conquering the world, and he stops them. And then after he dies, as an old man, like it's fine, it's fine. He dies many decades later.
Tragic.
Uh, and then Korra is chosen to be the next Avatar. She's a waterbender, and so her like
She lo-
trajectory of the Avatar eventually learns all four of the elements, but you start as one, and
she
then
the
you have
last
to
one.
journey around the world. Well, yes and no.
Wow.
You see, she's like severed her connection to the Avatar line, and in the last season, to the Avatar spirit in general. So she very well could be the last one. And also, they haven't made any subsequent series. So she is technically, as of now, the last one that we know of,
Way to
and
go,
could
Korra.
technically be the last one in the lore. I'm just not done yet.
Wow.
And yeah, there's 100 Avatar things happening too. There's like new animation coming out. There's a like I believe a live action series and possibly a live action movie being worked on too. Like
Not by Shyamalan.
not by M Night Shyamalan.
Okay.
That
Okay.
movie did not happen. We do not speak of it.
Oh, you mean that terrific movie that from M Night Shyamalan?
Yes. The best movie named Avatar.
Oh, shots fired. Shots fired across the bow of Pandora.
So, Murderville, since we're
Right.
done with that tangent. I mean, again, it is a thing I was watching, so at least
Mhm.
we're still on track.
Yes, that's true.
And yeah, so I watched Murderville, and I was not expecting Pete Davidson. I don't even remember him from the trailer that I watched.
Nope.
But
Had
yeah,
no clue.
it was one of the best episodes that they've done. Both like the guests like had so much fun with it.
Hmm.
And it was also the worst episode they've ever done if we're going to get into very specifics because wow.
Yes. Yeah. Now, of course, I'm a huge Arrested Development fan. So anytime we can have Will Arnett and Bateman together, it's a real treat. I love their podcast. Uh, and then having Sean Avery from the podcast there as well. Sean Avery, Sean, oh gosh, the guy from Will and Grace. Sean, that Sean guy, their buddy from Will and Grace is on was Santa Claus. Of course, he's supposed to be the football player, the football quarterback jock or whatever. Which is when you think uh, jock football players and stuff like that. That's who you think of. But I thought Maya Rudolph was fantastic. Marshawn
Speaking of
Lynch,
good place.
yes, yeah. Marshawn Lynch coming back in for a minute was awesome. Of course, he had maybe the best episode of the first run of the series.
Hmm.
Uh, Now, it's funny throughout. There's a bunch of funny jokes. Uh, I think Bateman, knowing Will Arnett so well, they could play other off each other pretty good, but it didn't quite feel like a Murderville. I think you need to have a little bit of separation. You can't have that being able to work off each other vibe. It has to be a little bit awkward, I think, for it to work better. Uh, except for Maya Rudolph was fantastic of what she was doing too. I think Maya Rudolph comes off looking a little better than Bateman. Uh, but that final joke, that joke about the from the orphanage or whatever, when one of the best sight gags I've seen in years. Uh, First time I've laughed out loud and pointed at my television in a long time. It was perfect. It was the entire show is worth it. If you don't like guys, if you don't like watching that kind of stuff or whatever, it's fine or whatever. Stick through it just for that last joke. It was fucking hilarious. It was so funny.
the and yeah, like one thing I really did like um the introduction of the new guests. I
Hmm.
I kind of wish that one of them had been given some cues. So like they could have been more red herring, or honestly could have been the accomplice,
Hmm.
because there's an accomplice in the episode. So if that had come into play, that could have been very cool as well.
I was wondering
And
if that's what it was going to be, because yeah, it's like just how the writers write something into it about how one of them was going to be the that whole bit at the end, where they're picking who the murderer is and stuff like that, kind of sucked. That was not.
I actually thought it was very funny. Like
Oh,
mostly because like again, Pete Davidson is brought in way too late.
way too
And
late.
like literally he has nothing to do except for guess.
Yeah, and I don't think he even knew what he was doing when he was there.
And then I did think it was very funny that like I thought Jason Bateman did a good job in the moment of explaining his interaction.
Hmm.
And again, I would have had all of the guests interact with a different person separately and then compare notes and have to go very quickly and describe, and then you meet all the suspects.
Yeah.
But I thought he did very well in the moment, and then you get to the end, and Maya Rudolph does not even like clue into like this is the guy he was talking about.
Yeah.
He definitely mentioned a guy. He talked about like a number of different things. Forgot the peppermint schnapps. That was awful. He was holding it. They gave it to him in his hands. That was bad. But when I was watching it, I thought he actually gave a great summation, and then nobody remembered a thing he talked about later. And I think that's part of the whole spectacle is they're literally given so many different like both acting prompts and cues and also just like what the fuck sentences and like clues for their case,
Yeah.
and like they're trying to mess him up the whole time.
Well, yeah, and Maya Rudolph wasn't even there for the first when he went to go talk to the reporter. She hadn't
That's
even been
that's what I
introduced on
meant.
the show. Yeah, so like, how was she supposed to guess anything? Uh, and then I'm trying to think, like from the first series, Who didn't get it? Was it only like one person didn't get the murder? I think it was one, maybe two.
It might have been two. I can't remember particularly, but
Yeah, but
yeah.
yeah, it just seems like this was just a spectacular failure. But trying to actually guess the murder. Like they were like when yeah, I liked what Pete Davidson did. I thought that was funny.
Yeah, I mostly think like all of them either truly did not know, or like after Maya did something silly and out of the way, everyone else decided like, ah, well, I don't want to be the person who guesses wrong, so
Mhm.
I'm just gonna do something random and funny too. And I actually thought that was a lot of fun. Like where like mostly them trying to come up with their reasoning as to why they chose their suspect. That was what I had fun with.
I just hope that this isn't going to be the gag now for when people get to the end and stuff like that, having seen the show and stuff like
No,
that. I
I
think the
I do
show,
hope it is like a
yeah,
special episode sort of thing, which is fine
yeah,
as well.
I, yeah, yeah, I hope it doesn't lead because people are going to start seeing the show now. They're going to get, they're going to see what it's about. Um, you could ask people to come on the show and say, please don't watch this, and you shouldn't have any idea of what's going on. As soon as you start watching it and you see what's going on, you start playing into it more. And I think it's going to lose a lot of its charm. I think that's why that I really like that first season so much because they had no idea. If you
Mhm.
go after less talented actors, like go after like athletes and stuff like that. Like the Marshawn Lynch thing just worked so well. Like there's casting that you can do it, or go for incredibly popular or dramatic actors and stuff like
Mhm.
that. Like just try and stay away from comedians and stuff like that that can figure out the joke and stuff like that. Just try. I think where it works best is in its awkwardness. It's like The
Yeah.
Office or shows like that. It works best when it's awkward. And let Will do all the work. Arnett can do it. Give him all the heavy stuff to carry, but you just come in there and have him react to stuff, and it's hilarious.
Mhm. But also, if you're gonna just get funny people, we need someone like, well, my dream guest would be Andy Serkis, because like the weird crawling around things that Will Arnett could make him do would just be so much fun. They would literally have to build an episode around the fact that he's the guest, but it would be the best episode.
I don't know who like I say all those things. Like I would love it if Manzukis was on the show, Jason
Mm,
Manzukis, but I would have loved it if he was on like the first season. I don't know what he would be like on the second season, but
mhm.
also I could also probably say he's probably never watched the show. There's a very good chance he hasn't watched it, so he may be fair game or whatever.
He
Uh,
either hasn't watched it or he's a producer on it. One of the
yeah,
two. He does a
uh,
lot of things in the comedy world,
yes.
but he also does not have any time because of that.
No. Yes. So yeah, Manzukis would be great. Uh, who else? Like Ray Fiennes or something like that. Like go just somewhere off the norm.
Mm.
Meryl Streep, somebody like that. If you
Oh
can
my
get
god,
someone like that,
yeah,
I got
like
Sharon Stone last time. Of course, I'm not
and then like
comparing guys.
and yeah, like maybe again, like I like the actor route or the athlete route
Mhm,
because but maybe you could also go for things that like musicians and things like that, like
mhm.
people who are used to being the center of attention but aren't necessarily used to like all of the acting parts of it, and so they really will get more kind of blown away by the production, and then you get those like genuine moments.
Yeah, for sure.
Whereas like again, Maya Rudolph was amazing,
Yeah.
but she also realizes it's a joke from the first second she walks in, and she treats it like that a lot of the time. Like, and that's not bad for a special episode, but I would not want every episode going forward to be like that either.
And still, the best part of this whole episode for me was scripted and it had nothing to do with the stars or whatever. It's just that one gift
Mhm.
with the orphan call. It's a callback joke too. To that useless thing about trying to steal the headphones at the thing. Yeah,
Yeah.
fantastic, fantastic.
And lastly, we got a show that you watched that I was looking this up. I think I found the right show.
Hmm.
Seems like the last episode was just aired or something like that.
Right. SAS Rogue Heroes. Now,
Yes,
I don't
yeah.
know if it's called Rogue Hero, just Rogue Heroes in the States. I think it's known under two different titles. Up here in Canada, it's SAS Rogue Heroes. So, if you don't know what the SAS is, I think it was uh, uh, like the British version of their Navy SEALs or Black Ops teams or stuff like that, formed in World War II, just to do almost like guerrilla style warfare, where they,
Yeah.
uh, yeah, they
It
weren't,
doesn't exactly stand for it, but SAS stands for fuck shit up.
yeah, exactly.
From what I could tell from what I read.
So these guys were guys who were there because they loved killing Germans for one reason or another. And they're in Africa, and uh, they have a plan to start knocking out the Brit or the German uh, uh, airports and stuff like that, and getting rid of their airfields and shit like that. And they're going to do it by themselves. But little did they know that there was a colonel who was making up a phantom squad just in his head and like doing it through espionage, getting Hitler to think that people were going to come and destroy these things, so they would back off the lines and stuff like that. But here, these guys were going to actually do it, so they funded these guys to go and do it. And I'm going to say, I'm not going to say much more because this show, as far as war shows goes, I think easily matches Band of Brothers. It's a much different style. I think they're both equally as true as each other. Band of Brothers takes some liberties with the story. Of course, Rogue Heroes takes liberties with the stories. It tells you that though right off the bat. It
Mhm,
says the the details and events depicted here uh, may seem unbelievable, but they're mostly true. So yeah,
mhm,
it's only like 6 episodes long, I think, and it's like it's not like where you're just immersed in World War II and stuff like that. Like they'll have ACDC music. They have like 70 any kind of things like to punch stuff up or whatever they use. If they need to use period music, they use it. I think the relationships between all the guys in the SAS are fantastic. I like the tension between um, their squad and other squads. Their leader and other leaders. The fact that Winston Churchill absolutely loves them. The fact that they brought Winston Churchill's son on one of these raids. Unbelievable. This is, and it's, like I said, mostly true, but extremely violent. Uh, Funny. I think there's a lot of touching bits to it. I cannot say enough good things about Rogue Heroes. They have to do another season. I would imagine they'd have to do another season. And it's not like there's a bunch of stars in this. I think
mhm,
Theon Greyjoy, I recognize. Dominic West from like The Wire and stuff.
mhm.
But yeah, that's all that I ever thought that I recognize people from, unless I've seen them in a bunch of other things and so many British things that it just kind of goes through your head and back and stuff like that. Yeah, but It is truly gripping. Uh, like that week, like I just watched the 6 episodes of Wednesday, uh, and then had to do the show, watch the next two. That next day, I went through every episode of Rogue Heroes. So yeah, it's a terrific show. Highly recommend it. Probably easily make my top 5 shows that I've watched this year. Easily. Uh, yeah, I can't say it. It's on Prime, guys. Every episode's available. It's a quick binge on a weekend. Uh, you'll want more. You'll absolutely want to see more because it's fascinating.
Oh my God.
Oh
I
boy.
just realized there was something we needed to talk about that we were not talking about.
Mhm.
um, and the reason that I only remembered now was because last week, if we had done the show, I would have had to binge several episodes of Willow because I was not yet caught up by Tuesday
Yep.
because I spent most of Sunday and then most of Monday watching the rest of it, watching this crazy thing on not television. It was
Mhm.
on YouTube. It's I know it's this weird platform where you can watch people do like podcasts, but people also upload videos there. Uh, and
Fail videos.
yeah, and some people put on $1.6 million chess boxing events.
Okay.
um,
What
yeah,
the heck is this?
chess boxing is one of the coolest fucking things I've ever seen. But also, it's a super niche sport that is honestly like played in many different countries around the world. It was started by I want to say it was a German, but that could just be where the gym is based now.
Oh boy.
But yeah, it's basically a 9 round match where is it 9 rounds? No, it's 7 rounds.
Okay.
It's 7 rounds, 3 rounds of boxing, 4 rounds of chess. The odd rounds are chess, the even rounds are boxing. You play I believe it's 2 minutes of chess and then 90 seconds of boxing and then 2 minutes of chess, 90 seconds of boxing, 2 minutes of chess, 90 seconds of boxing, and then 4 minutes of chess to either close the game or someone will eventually run out of time and lose. And that's the final determination of the contest. And yeah, they also invented a completely different sport while they were there. They did um, Super Smash Brothers and also boxing, which did not
What?
work as well as the chess because they had to keep their hand wraps for boxing on while playing video game controllers. And they didn't have an easy time. But the whole event was honestly super interesting,
So the
kind
chest is
of
just
really
there.
one of a kind.
The chest is just there for people to do in between rounds of punching each other in the face.
Yes, but also like there were games decided by Checkmate. There were games there were quite a few games decided on the board, either by time or by Checkmate in some degree. There was there were several grandmasters playing. Um,
What?
yeah, there
And
was
punching
a
each other in the face?
well, yes and no.
Oh boy.
On the men's side there was Grandmaster Iman,
Hmm.
played an intermediate master, but you know, in a super quick game while also being punched in the face, intermediate master versus grandmaster, not really big difference.
No.
But like he did have a couple hundred rating points on the guy, and the guy, you know, had better like technical boxing skills, but didn't turn out that way. I believe Iman won that match very handily in the ring. I'm pretty sure. And yeah, there were some matches that like they played 2 minutes of chess and then within the first 90 seconds it was over because there's a big difference between chess and boxing. And
Like,
yeah,
yeah, like you can, like, if you're a big guy, but you're not good at chess, you just sit like this for 90 seconds. Like, I wonder what move I'm gonna do. Ding ding. Oh well, now you got to get in the ring, get punched.
yeah,
Yeah. So you could have the match. You only have one move. If all the
the
guy just wants to do
difference
is just
is
this, or are you
like you
forced to do it
could
within 20, 15-second kind of rule?
uh what is it? It's 2-2-2-4, so 1-1-1-2.
Right.
So
I'm just wondering if you have
yeah,
like a time limit to make your move. Like you only got
kind of.
15
Like
seconds. Okay.
it's 2 minutes in the round.
Right.
And one in chess, one of those minutes is allotted to you and one to your opponent. So you
Hmm.
can't actually wait out the whole round just making one move. You do actually have to move around on the board. And people who consider themselves better boxers would just be more defensive. You're just trying not to lose in those
Right.
couple of chess rounds, and then you want to get into the ring. And
So
yeah, there are quite a few. Like they had the world champion of chess boxing commentating this event. Um,
there's a world champion. All right.
yeah, I mean, there is a technical world champion of chess boxing, and he was even saying, like, even in like, non super amateur, like, this was a bunch of people. Some of them had trained for 6 weeks, some of them had trained for up to 8 months prior to the event, but very, very amateurs, where like a lot of creators have started getting into fighting each other. I'm not sure what's up with that at the moment, but we're very close to the Hunger Games.
No shit. Like what is happening here?
uh, uh, and yeah, I I had so much fun watching this event, and like one of my favorite like streamers was playing in it, and he was the main event because him and his opponent had like the biggest online followings combined of like pretty much anyone there, all told. But yeah, there was a men's grandmaster, there was a women's grandmaster boxing and playing chess. There was all sorts of crap. There was also a match where the combined strength of the players was uh 350. And if you today went to chess.com and made yourself an account to play some chess, they will give you a rating of 800 before you have ever played a game. So, in order for this match to have a combined 350, you can imagine that that match was
Not
determined by the
not the best.
boxing.
Yeah, not the best, guys.
Yeah,
These
those
guys kept
those were
trying to
some guys who wanted to
they kept
fist
trying to
each
play
other.
checkers. They kept trying to play checkers.
Yeah, and
Unbelievable.
it was really funny. And honestly, that match definitely had some cheating in it. Because, like, one of the players would just, like, pick up a piece and then just kind of look over at the crowd and then just put it down. And yeah, it was, again, that match was not about the chess. It was barely even about the, like the winner. It was more about the spectacle and the fun
Is
of
there
it. But
smack talk like while they're at the board? Is somebody chirping at the other guy and stuff like that? Like I'm gonna as soon as we're done,
uh
I'm punching your teeth in.
not really. in chess, you're really not supposed to do that.
Yeah, you're also not supposed to after 2 minutes say, "Oh, we're gonna go in this ring and punch each other now."
Yes, that is also true. But they also were wearing like earplugs and noise canceling headphones so that they couldn't hear the commentators, because the
Oh,
commentators had like they had the friggin' computer evaluation of the positions. So, and like they have one commentator going like, "Oh yeah, there's like a checkmate in one or two moves here." And then the bell rings and they got to get in the ring, and actually they didn't ever leave the ring. They had like the table come down in the middle of the
oh,
ring.
is that what happens?
Yeah.
All right.
Usually I don't think it's usually done like that, but
Seems
that's the
pretty
way.
dramatic. Seems
Yeah,
pretty dramatic.
that's the way they did it here. So yes, if I could find that, I will definitely make a comment under this video, because if anyone thinks that sounds interesting, just search up uh I believe it was Mogul Moves chess boxing.
Mogul
So
moves.
Mogul, Mogul, and then Moves, and then it's like there's both the big ass video, which is like 8 hours or something, but each match was individually split and can be watched on its own. They're really something. It's a fun sport, and uh, I had never heard of it until uh, this event was put on by a streamer that I watch, Ludwig, and then I could not imagine like how cool it would be. I could never box somebody, but also I would love to be able to.
I'm uh I'm watching the little 30-second little highlight thing of it right now. Um, okay, so I saw the one guy and got long hair and he looks like he's supposed to be pretty tough or something like that. And he's doing the arm thing like he's Popeye or something like that. Every every time his arms are down here, his arms are here, like at his
Yeah.
stomach. It's like, buddy, if you're a boxer, you would be dead. You would have
Yes.
expired. Somebody would have punched you so hard in the face that you would have died.
For sure.
Yeah. So yeah. So this is the kind of fighting we're gonna get. Okay. But yeah, it does sound like it's gonna be fun though.
And yes, like
I will 100% watch a match of this tomorrow.
a lot of it was because they are still, everyone there is considered an amateur. Like
Hmm.
a lot of people were in their first fight ever. Like other than spar, like some people
Wait,
had
wait a minute. How
some
dare you,
people had
sir?
only
Are
sparred.
you are you saying? Wait a minute. Are you saying that the local chess clubs aren't a bunch of ruffians? I won't have it. I won't have it, sir.
Actually, the funniest thing is a lot of these people don't play much chess. Like uh especially a lot of the people were saying in lead up to the event, they had to focus so much on boxing that they had no time to study, especially like high level chess players will study their opponent's chess games and prepare for like moves your opponent likes to play. And
Unbelievable.
they had, even the grandmaster didn't bother doing that, because he was like, and even better, he had lost both games he ever played against his or yeah, international master opponent. And so it was like, you've gone 0 and 2 against this person in chess, and you're also not studying chess because you're too busy preparing for boxing, because you've never boxed a person in your life. So you really got to put some training in there. And so a lot of people did not focus on like the chess aspect at all, but a lot of, you know, traditional chess boxers, we'll say, because how many traditional chess boxers are there, do start from a fighting background and do focus a lot more on the chess when they actually start getting into the sport. And speed chess is a whole different beast from regular chess anyway, so there's that on top of it.
Doesn't the Marquis of Queensberry rules talk about you'll after every 1 minute round you'll play 1 minute of chess? I'm trying to think back. It's been a long time since I've seen that book. The Marquis of Queensberry rules. Unbelievable. Who thinks of this stuff? I like it. Okay, so now let's start. Okay, they have
Yes.
their thing. They have their thing. Let's start pairing some sports and games together that we would like to see. I
All
say,
right.
I say, hungry, hungry hippos and skeet shooting.
Interesting.
Okay.
Interesting.
Yep.
I've got, let's see. Hmm. We're going to combine, I'm going to say blackjack rather than poker,
Okay. Sure.
but we're going to combine it with basketball.
Ooh.
So we're actually going to put a bunch of different nets around, and they're all going to have different values on them. They're all going to be playing cards.
At
And
different
so,
heights.
yeah. And so you need to shoot 4 blackjacks. And if you bust, you actually lose 21 points.
Wow. All right.
Yeah, yeah.
That seems a little excessive. How about shoots and ladders and javelin?
Excellent.
The point. There's no point. Of course, there's no point to chess boxing. There's not.
Poker and dueling.
Oh my god.
I think that was just the American, like Wild West, but
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. Oh my goodness gracious. Wild Bill Hickok, one of the famous athletes in that sport.
and yeah, so that about does it for chess boxing. And
Yeah.
but I did over the course of this last week get caught up on Willow, and I had a lot of fun. I still feel like I'm watching Lord of the Rings. They went through the mountain pass. They've been to the cursed castle. They fought a necromancer or a lich.
Yeah. Uh there's parts of the episodes that I like. I'm not I haven't fallen in love with this show. I was more excited for it. Um that when I, that I guess that what I got is just not living up to what I wanted, but I'm still, that 14-year-old kid or 13-year-old kid who saw Willow in the theater and is expecting that kind of stuff or whatever. It hasn't been. I got to say though, at the by the like the ends of the episodes are terrific. I don't think I've had a problem with any end to any episode yet. They nail the landings on the episode, but it's a pretty turbulent flight for me for this going through. I liked a lot of the stuff that was going in it. I really like anything that Tony Revolori is doing on this show. It's been awesome. The like Willow himself is like Warwick Davis, not a terrific actor. It turns out he's not the best at acting. He's fine. Uh, but yeah, it was fine. The guy with the meat cleaver, uh, why is he even there? Like, I don't understand that. The the princess character is growing on me a little bit. I liked her more this episode. And her girlfriend or her friend or whoever it is, the girl from Solo. I think she's been very good. Alora Dannon's been terrific. So there's parts of this that I'm really liking. There's just It just doesn't seem to like have an even flow for me. It's like up and down, up
Mhm.
and down, up and down, and it's up and down. So
I
they also got rid of one of my favorite characters and Willow's buddy there. Uh, like in 3 episodes, and it's like, guys, come on, what are you doing? What are you
Yeah.
doing to me? Like, come on, get rid of one of the other jerks. Why would you get rid of one of the best things about this entire goddamn show? But I don't get nice things when it comes to stuff like this, I guess, Daniel. What did you think just of this past episode? What do you think going like have you watched the Willow movie?
I have not.
Oh
I
boy.
I hadn't seen it, and then when I heard about the series, I kind of had a choice to make of whether I was going to watch it first or watch it afterwards.
Hmm.
And I decided to watch it afterwards, even though like I have heard amazing things about the film. Uh, I know a lot of people who really enjoy it,
Yep.
and but I also just wanted to go into the series kind of fresh and not knowing and see if, it was telling its own story rather than just uh, standing on the back of some other one. And
Right.
to that effect, I can see a lot of things that they're trying to like connect to the movie, even though I haven't
There
seen
was
the movie. um,
this past episode. There was a ton of things. It
like
was the
one
most
thing,
tied to it, I think.
yes, like I could definitely tell that. I mean, they're in Bavmorda's castle, and I actually thought that last episode was amazing.
Mm.
I liked I I like Borman, even though like I still haven't figured out what his deal is.
No.
He's clearly connected to the father, and he has half assembled the thing that the MacGuffin.
Hmm.
So we'll definitely figure out what his deal is at some point, and I'm interested to find out. I just really like his like half Jack Sparrow, half Indiana Jones vibe that he's got going on, especially in this episode.
Well, I think that's supposed to take on a lot of what Val Kilmer's character was in the first movie. It's just he doesn't do it as well. So, like, why would you have that same character again, played by a different character, when you have his daughter there at the same time, who's also trying to sort of be that same character? Like, they keep
Mhm.
like two of these characters are pretty much the same here, guys. It's like we
Well,
don't need both,
see, I'm not still unconvinced that he isn't just Mad Mardigan.
right? Oh, I see. In
Like
disguise.
I'm not unconvinced that he isn't just her dad.
One thing I
That's why
thought
he's
was fun.
missing. He's been hanging out in the dungeons. That's why he can fight demons because he's fought them before. That's why he's let out when the town is attacked by the Gales.
Hmm.
Uh,
Yeah,
that
I
that
don't
is
get.
that is my only like the only reason that he would be very interesting. I also
I have a feeling your theory is too smart for these writers.
possibly.
Yeah.
I also looked up the number of episodes that we have in this
Hmm.
series, and the answer is 8,
Right.
and
So we're
I
halfway
don't
through.
like that.
Halfway
I
through.
I don't think 8 is enough
Wow.
unless they're doing like more afterwards. Like
I
if
would
they're not
imagine so.
like if 8 ends with them on the boat on the way across the sea that nobody has ever crossed before, then sure. But if they're going to get to Eric in the next 4 episodes, that also seems a bit of a stretch.
When they finally showed him again, for the first time since the
Yeah.
first 15 minutes of the show, they finally show him. It's like you almost forget that he's all part of this. You have to take what's her name complaining that she's in love with Eric once every blue moon for no reason.
Mm,
Uh, to remember, it's like, oh yeah, they're going after the princess's brother here too and stuff like that. It's not just about saving the girl anymore. So yeah, I don't know.
And
yeah, it has. I'll say it has some struggles in the story for
mhm.
sure.
And then there's also some little interesting tidbits that, like, I I'm again probably latching on to more than even the writers of the show, but they keep mentioning the blood of the six and all of that, and I'm just
Mhm.
like, but but where are the other five?
Well,
If Bavmorda is the blood of the six, she can
mhm.
only be the blood of one of the six, and so maybe the crone is another one. But that still leaves four other ones that
It's a blood. Like you're not talking about like Beth Mord, her daughter there, and
yeah,
then the
like
Eric
they
and the princess. That's
and
four.
and they mention it as like they mention it as the blood of the six. It's these
Yeah,
six
there's.
fey creatures who turned against the light and chose to serve the darkness. And I
Mhm.
assume that the crone is one of them.
Right.
And I assume Bavmorda is not of her specific line because why would she need to be recruited in that case? So maybe that's two of the six. But then it sounds like there are at least four other dark powers around.
Well, maybe something to do with Tony Revolori's character because
That yes,
yeah,
I have been thinking about that, and also like
and his father perhaps.
yeah, because he definitely has something that we're gonna find out in one of the next two episodes.
Hmm.
And I I still I still really have been enjoying myself. I oddly enough, even though Tony Revolori is like holding a lot of the show together, this episode didn't feature him a lot, and I thought it was one of the strongest.
I thought it featured him quite a bit. The whole part with him being possessed by the evil and stuff like that,
Well,
and going into his childhood and seeing what he's done, like pushing that guy off the
yeah, like
tree and
I
stuff.
actually I had forgotten about the childhood scene, but
Hmm.
that was what I was referring to was that he's like laying down in the room a lot of the time and like a lot of the scene is focused on like Willow and Alara like learning and doing the spell, and then it shifts focus to all of the other people getting lost in the castle that changes hallways.
I like that. Yeah, well, yeah,
Yeah,
or it's disappearing hallways or something like
give
that
me a
you watch.
creepy ass fucking castle any day. Like that
And
was great.
I did like the way that they did the sort of flashback characters and stuff like that, like Alora Dannon seeing her mom in the room and stuff like that. Just the way they film those kind of things, or when Willow says when Laura's character says, "And who's gonna help you or whatever?" My friends, and it shows like the people from the past or whatever coming out in there too. Stuff like that.
Yeah.
I really like the way they've been doing that. So they're doing things well. Like it's not that I'm not enjoying the show. I am enjoying the show. I just wish it had more, and I wish it just ran smoother. I
Yeah.
don't think it's. I don't know if it's going to be a thing they're going to be able to. That's going to fix
And
itself.
and I
Not
guess
this
that
season.
must be uh, a case of it just being the 8 episodes rather than like a 12 or 13 even could have
Hmm.
smoothed a few of these stories into an episode and a half instead of into one like
Now, yeah, I think, and it must be 8 because they're going to do another season. I think they're thinking you can end this at a place where if we don't get to do another season, people are going to be okay with it. But I think for sure they're going to have to do another season, which is probably what the goal was here, is to try to franchise it out somehow. Uh,
mhm.
but you're hoping that by the time they get the next season going, that it's going to be going way smoother.
Cause yeah, like again, I imagine something about, like, I actually do think they're going to be fighting the Crone by the 8th episode, but I hope to God that they aren't. But if they are not, you have that for a season 2. You have also, like, at some point they're going to have to put this realm together under the true Empress, right?
Mhm.
Like, you have quite a few interesting stories to tell, which is why I could see them vanquishing the darkness right at the end of 8 episodes, and then starting from season 2, we can really tell. But then it's not Willow anymore. Like, it's not
Right.
a story about Willow. Uh, maybe maybe there could have been, a better way to focus the series if that had been the case too.
Yeah, they could have called it not Willow. They could have called it something else. Have Willow in it, be in the universe of Willow. Just don't call
Yeah,
it Willow because it's not
like
Willow's
whatever the name
story.
of the land is called,
Or call it
Galadorn.
or call it Alora Dannon, or call it something else. Call it, yeah. You can
Yeah,
call it a bunch of things, but yeah, not really Willow.
the true Empress.
Ooh, yeah, yeah. Just calling it Willow is kind of like, ugh. Well, yeah. Now what if he keeps using that scepter, and he says it causes incredible pain. There's only so many uses or whatever. You got the hint,
Mm.
the gist of that from his buddy before he gets killed. Um, so if he only has more chances to use it, there's a good chance Willow dies at the end of this season. You keep calling it Willow?
Yeah,
Yeah,
seems a
Willow.
little
Wink.
strange.
Willow. Well.
Fun stuff, fun stuff. So that about does it for things we're watching. I had thought of a little thing that we could talk about as we're winding down, and if anybody in our chat has some extra suggestions, we'll also mention them. But
Mhm.
like, what's what's a great Christmas special or just Christmas episode of a television show to go back to?
Oh, there's tons. For me, I'll think of the Community episode where Abed thinks everybody's in claymation,
Yes.
uh, because his mom can't hang out with him at Christmas this year. What else? Oh, there's of course the Mr. Hanky South Park episodes and stuff like that, which are so goddamn good. Uh, that's probably the one. The South Park one is probably the one that I make sure that I watch on Christmas Day, all the time. Uh, it really annoys the wife, and and the kids kind of think it's funny. Oh my gosh, Ronald
I
Friedman.
I
That's a
actually
name I haven't heard of in a while.
I actually go for the other Community Christmas episode though, the musical one. uh, and a lot of it is sold on just Troy and Abed's introductory rap, like the Christmas infiltration,
Yeah,
and
we gotta
I
save
also
Christmas to save
like,
our friends.
yeah, I also like the idea of, like, the Glee Club being actually evil. And I
That guy stabs himself in the hand with a fork.
yeah. I also think quite often, um I will watch, what is it? Damn, I can't remember what season it's gonna be now.
I don't think, to be fair, like, and this is going to be the old man talking and stuff like that. Like, Christmas specials aren't the same as it was or whatever. Everybody has a Christmas special. You can watch it anytime and blah, blah, blah. Back when I was a kid, um, the lead up to Christmas was awesome because you didn't get cartoons other than Saturday mornings or occasional ones on a Sunday morning.
Mhm.
Um, your you never got toy commercials at night. You only got them during again Saturday mornings and stuff like that. So when things like Charlie Brown Christmas or it's Christmas Charlie Brown or whatever it's called uh, would come on, or Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer, Frosty the Snowman, all those kind of things. And then they would come on as a special. Like I think it was usually CBS that would have them, and they have an introduction because it's a special presentation or whatever, and be like these bongos playing boom 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 boom, and then they go da 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 with the little fanfare from trumpets afterwards. Uh, I like that's a nostalgia trigger for me. Like if
Mhm.
I hear that sound, and once in a while you're scrolling through um, Instagram or something like that, and somebody will put out a reel or whatever, this nostalgia shit or whatever. As soon as I hear that, I'm automatically 8 years old. It's like, oh, I can't wait. It's like now I'm gonna see like Star Wars toys commercials. So yeah, nothing can beat that. All this other kind of stuff is just whatever. That's fine.
Yeah. I'll give like an honorable mention shout out to I was just watching uh rewatching some Brooklyn Nine-Nine, and
Hmm.
I watched the episode where Jake forgets to buy his Christmas present for Charles, so they go to the mall, and then there's like a big heist, and it's a whole like Die Hard
Die
thing
Hard.
going on. Yeah, that is a really dumb, really fun episode, and
Gina's
uh,
awesome.
but but the one I really wanted to bring up was honestly, I maybe not every year, but like once every 2 years, I will go back and watch this episode, and then it leads to me just watching a bunch of Buffy the Vampire Slayer. But the episode where and I there might even be two of them, but it definitely the one where like Buffy is literally in the Christmas tree lot, and she falls through and she finds out about the harbingers of the first evil, which we will
Oh
not
yeah,
meet
yeah.
until like the next season. Like it is such a little foreshadowing bit, but it also has the fun like snow in California, and like there's such a Christmas vibe to that episode that
Hmm.
I really enjoy it. I watch it all the time for really like both a TV show and also just great Christmas setting.
Nice.
Yeah. And again, like some Christmas specials are more focused on the Christmas side, and some of them like that one like I like when you can be like both things. I find the Community episodes do that very well. They are both like full Christmas and also full Community episode, and like it's not always pulled off, but when it is, I love
I got Britta's song from the Glee Club thing in my head right now.
it.
So thanks for that. You
Well, that
Britted
one's
it.
the easiest one to sing.
I got a Christmas time for me.
I got a Christmas time for a tree. uh, and at that note, we should probably head on out of here. If we're singing Christmas songs, everyone's going to be running pretty quickly
How
anyway.
dare you? We're caroling, guys.
And so, you want to drop some plugs?
Sure. I believe the last episode of starting 11 for the year dropped today on LGR Network. The highlights. Uh, I just did a show last weekend with 50 talking about uh, people that regenerate in Doctor Who other than Doctor Who. I believe that showed up yesterday on this very network. And I'll be doing another show with 50 coming up pretty soon. We're going to rank for generations. That's going to be super fun. And other than that, guys, I just hope everyone has a good holidays and don't get into too much trouble, and make sure you stay safe and don't get sick and don't spread to anybody.
Indeed. I got nothing but this show, really. I I could drop my Twitter, but I'm pretty much never on it except when I'm complaining about my video game.
Well,
But yeah, you can find me more or less every Tuesday. I honestly do not know. I haven't even talked to Rob if we're gonna be taking a break next week or not because it is the holidays. But also here's a good freaking plug. In the coming days, we'll be dropping something on like the Northern Entertainment Group Twitter, and if I remember to do it and film it, a video on our page here, where we're gonna like pull submissions for favorite TV show of 2022.
mhm.
And we'll either do it like we're gonna do it sometime early in the new year. I'll compile all the results. Basically, top 10 list. Your number one place is gonna get 10 points all the way down. Second place will get 9. 10th place will get 1 point, etc. And
I
then
reserve the right to veto every single one of theirs and replace it with mine, though.
yes, but also we will have some definitive rankings, and then we'll see which TV shows scored really highly.
Mhm.
Again, it doesn't have to be a brand new show. Whichever season of the show you're kind of basing it off that. We're just looking for what was the thing you most enjoyed watching this year, and then we'll compile those in early January, and then turn the rest of January into what we're excited for 2023.
Right.
So if we're gone for the holidays, we will see you next year, and if we're not, we'll see you next week. But for myself, for Santa Snark, for Soda in the back, but usually for Dave, we thank you very much, and have a good week, everybody.